Hey guys, Mr. Browse. We're going to go over our next video, which is on Objective 7.6D, making predictions. So this is making predictions using probability, okay? So we're doing 3 different events here. So we got a, that's my best drawing of a penny, okay? So a coin, a spinner with 5 equal parts, and then a die. So we're going to ask I'm going to ask different questions for each one. And so we're going to go through and predict what the outcomes would be, okay? So this predictions is all based on theoretical probability. So it's not based on if I flip a coin 10 times. It's based on what would happen if I were to flip a coin 10 times, okay? So theoretically, what should happen? What would the odds be? So if I flip a coin 100 times, let's say, what's the probability I will land on tails? Well, not what's the probability. How many times would I land on tails, rather? So the way you set this up is in a proportion, okay? So the probability is 1 out of 2 times I should land on tails. So what would that equal if I flip the coin 100 times? So this would be your part. This would be your whole. This is your total down at the bottom, okay? So how many times would I land on tails if I flipped it 100 times? Well, you guys can see the relationship here would be times 50, right? So this would be times 50, so your answer would be 50. I would land on tails 50 times if I were to flip a coin 100 times, theoretically. So what if I spun the spinner 20 times? How many times would I land on 5? Okay, so again, these are all equal parts of a spinner, so how many times would I land on 5? Well, there's 5 parts, so the probability I'm going to get 5 right now would be just 1/5 for one spin, right? So one spin out of 5 total spins, I should get the number 5. So how many times would I get it if I spun it 20 times total? And again, we can do the baseball bat in baseball where you cross multiply and divide by 5, but you can also see a relationship here. Would be 5 times 4 equals 20. So 1 times 4 would equal 4. So 4 times would be your answer. I'd land on 5 4 times. Okay, and then if I roll a die 30 times, how many times would I land on 3? So how many times would I land on 3? So the probability of me landing on 3 the first time would be 1 out of 6. There's 6 options on a die. So one roll out of 6 rolls, I would get the number 3. So how many times would I land on 3 if I rolled it 30 times? Again, you see a relationship of times 5 here, so you would do the exact same thing to the top because they have to be proportional. So then x would equal 5, okay? So basically what this would be is your, I guess if you want to call it formula or however you would solve this, would be what is the original probability over, set equal to x over whatever, however many spins you're having to do, right? Or rolls or flips, whatever it is that you're having to do. So your original probability, meaning 1/6 for dice, right? Equals x over however many spins or flips or rolls, whatever it may be. Okay, spins would be for spinner, flips would be for coin, rolls would be for die, okay? So let's do one more example for each one. So if I spin the spinner, let's say 25 times, what are the odds that I'm going to land on, not what are the odds, what is the number of times I will land on a prime number? So prime numbers. We're not counting 1, so that would be 2, 3, and 5. So there's 3 prime numbers out of 5 total. And we're going to set that equal to x over 25, right? So 5 times 5 would give us that 25. And so we'd have to do the same to the top. So x would equal 15. So we'd get 15, we should get 15 prime numbers if we spun it 25 times. Okay, now let's look at the coin again. So the coin's going to be pretty obvious because it's just going to be twice the number. So if I flipped a coin 13 times, how many times do I land on heads? This is where it'd get interesting though. So we've got 1/2 and we've got a total of 13 here, right? So there's not an exact number we can multiply. There's not a whole number rather that we can multiply to get that, so it'd be 6.5. So this would also be 6.5. So you can't obviously get half of a heads or half of a tails, so that's why it is, you know, theoretical here. So and then the die, we'll do the die again. So if I were to roll the die 60 times, how many times would I land on an even number? So there's 2, 4, and 6. There's 3 even numbers out of 6, right? So we're going to set that equal to blank out of 60. So you see this is times 10. And if you were to simplify this fraction, it would still work. So we're going to do times 10 on this too. So we should get 30 even numbers on that. All right, guys, so that's how you would make predictions. We'll see you in class.